Welcome to today's Seidokan Saturday. Moving on, we're looking at Yonban, Seidokan Yakusoku, or YK number 4, Yonban. Again, I'm looking at each of the yakusoku as mini two-person kata from one aspect. The second aspect I'm looking at them is irimi, and I may not have mentioned this one before, but even if I have, reiterate. Irimi is the entry. It's how I set up a throw in judo. It's how I get into my opponent before I do the technique. We use a technique in order to get to another technique, in other words, in irimi or entry. Another element of a good entry or irimi is kuzushi. Gesundheit. Kuzushi means imbalance, to take my opponent's balance from him, moving him forward, backward, lean, move a foot, something so that I destabilize his base, his center, and make whatever I'm going to do to follow up easier. So, kata into application, into irimi with kuzushi, and then what we can do based on that. So, Yonban, number 4. Yonban basic from Oizuki's standard punch, the kata version. Hey, I sidestep and parry. My right hand then, I drag into this half kneeling position, and my hip drives with a nukite, which comes in just below the rib. Now, here's the initial problem with that. Most of us, you, us, me, don't work my nukite a lot like we did in the old days when I used to use sand buckets and then lentils and then steel shot and do finger thrusting. Even working just the tap bag here for finger thrusting, and I'll do the same thing working my iron palm bag here. So I've developed some strength in my fingers, but it's not extensive. I'm not going to penetrate his canvas jacket and his thick skin and his massive abdominal muscles. It's just not going to happen. So to think that this strike is going to be the end of something is silly anyway. If I happen to catch him on an inhale or a relaxation of the breath as he punches, hey, and I happen to catch him, I can come in and catch a little bit of the rib there. So most people can, even with my fat, I can suck my ribs in enough to get in under and pull. But even that, not super effective. So this is very definitively just an entry technique with a temporary stun, if you will. I don't even know if it's a stun as much as a distraction. But we can change this, either change the target or change the form to a yonbon ken, also known as a leopard paw, or to a uraken, urazuki, rather, a thrusting, an upside down thrust, and let it fold in. So again, the kata version, hey, parry, drag in, strike. Now, some in Seidokan turn this way and do the strike across their cat stance, coming this way. I don't find that I feel like my hip is going one way while I'm trying to put power the other when I do this. If you're comfortable with it and that's how you do it, cool beans. I prefer to drag in so that I'm driving hip and shoulder into that strike. Again, hip and shoulder power in a weak fingers, not going to do much, but change it to a punch, we're good. Another thing we can do, which Nick Sensei likes to do, hey, is he'll take it into the armpit. Okay, that's a nice tender spot. Again, even there, it's going to hurt more on him than this will, but it's not going to stop a determined attacker. So that's where we have to look at the next bits. So the next bit, just from the kata version, my bunkai, if you will, of the kata, is I can simply rotate my hips and we have the armbar. And there are a variety of ways to put this armbar on. We can use just the shoulder. I can go from here, drop my shoulder and come in order to come around and take a different position. Or we can just take it right from where it is. I can step through, pressing down, hammer. As I hammer, I'm getting his wrist, rising heel kick, etc. So I can add on strikes. And same as with the first 3, we can do all just striking. I can just strike, 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 strike. and continuous strike, or 2 or 3 or whatever my follow-up will be. I can go to Kansetsu Waza, joint techniques. We can move from this into throws. We can move from this into chokeholds, takedowns, throws. Okay? So we can mix and match, whether you like to just punch and get out, whether you want to put a hold on and control, restrain him, or whether you want to throw him, punch out, whatever. We can work the combinations. Okay? Now we take it to the street. Same concept. Hey, no, I don't know if your standard street punch tends to be a swing. Let me just distinguish here. A punch goes like this. The word in Japanese is tsuki, which when following another word becomes zuki. That means literally to thrust. A thrust is a linear motion. Punch and thrust are pretty much the same meaning. Most people in public acts of violence swing. That's why they call it throw hands. If I'm doing this, I'm not throwing hands, I'm pushing hands. Not Tai Chi push hands, but I'm pushing, thrusting. The swing, we have to deal with a little differently. I have to make my dodge and then come in. So I'm going to have to head bob, duck, whatever. Hey, duck and parry. Now I can come in, and again, from here, if I've worked in the kata, oizuki, straight karate punch, I've trained all of those techniques, then from here, I can again go right to those same techniques as my follow-ups. Right? I'm not going to dictate and say, hey, this is the advanced follow-up. I know some people have, and Nick Sensei has established a set of advanced 11 for his dojo, which is fine because now they have a set curriculum to base on. What I rather do if I'm truly advanced and where I want to go with my students is give them the freedom to be an artist. Here's the set form. This is your canvas and your paintbrush. Now, what color are you going to create with your paintbrush? That's up to you. How you punch, how you elbow, knee, kick, throw, joint lock, tweety, etc. Hey, thanks for joining. Like, share, subscribe. As before, I will put a composite of the little clips from the Okinawa seminar in the comments or in my description underneath the video, where you can link to some of the other variants that were explored during the Okinawa seminar. Thanks for joining. Like, share, subscribe, and until next week, as always, and most importantly, let's keep practicing.